¿Estás listo para irte?
No.
Tú y yo sabemos lo que sufren los muertos que se van con deudas.
Yo no me voy a morir, Bea. No.
Beautiful, you're beautiful, and I don't know how to spell beautiful.
That's the last time I let you take over at the beginning. If the option was given to me, I'm like, you
didn't know what to say.
I thought he was going to make
Bootiful.
I thought he would make a joke about the quality of the film. Then I could say, "Oh, stop being so James Blunt about it."
Which, by the way, I fucking hate that song. I think it's just like and not even because it's overplayed. Just when I listen to it, I'm like, this is the worst song ever. Oh, you saw a girl who was pretty, you fell in love. Fuck you douchebag.
Yeah,
this
every
is the-
asshole singing that at karaoke.
Yeah.
The musical equivalent of the Twilight series.
Yeah, it is.
Well, you're talking about a Spanish movie called Biutiful. It's spelled B-I-U because it has references.
sing it. Beautiful.
I do not have to sing it, in fact, and I've had
Please
my
don't.
lawyer draw up a document to show that is, in fact, the truth. This is directed by, and I have no idea how to pronounce this because it's got like 3 accent marks on it, but Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu.
Inaratu.
Shut up.
Inaratu.
He spent that weekend.
Nosferatu.
Spent the weekend downloading a torrent of Rosetta Stone over here.
I also speak Bocce, by the way.
And it's Javier Bardem playing
Looking evil again.
playing about the most depressed guy you can imagine. This guy whose life just sucks so bad.
That poster says it all.
Yeah, the poster of it where he's just staring at you.
I love how it's like the About Schmidt, except instead of Jack Nicholson, it's Javier Bardem.
It's a Spanish about me.
This is my feeling on this whole movie.
He has that look because it says beautiful across it. It's like him going, beautiful.
Like
That's just great.
sarcastically. Yeah. Beautiful.
I love how they have his, with a movie like this, how they have his like last name just like in huge fonts, like Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, because to the crowd that they're selling this movie to, he is an art house icon. I mean,
Oh,
he
sure.
is
No,
that
he
guy.
is.
He's at the top of his game as far as art house goes. After being in No Country for Old Men, where it was like the role of the year.
Well, this guy has come along in just like the last, 5 or 6 years and really made a name for himself.
Sure.
With everybody. He's almost a household name.
Yeah, he's been in so many movies that have transcended art house and have gotten to where regular people go see it.
Women go nuts over him.
Yeah, they do.
He's the Spanish George Clooney.
But you know what? I was scared he was going to fuck it up, especially after he did that Julia Roberts movie, the one that
Eat,
the
Pray,
movie,
Love.
the movie that you guys love so much.
please.
Eat, Pray, Love.
That was a paycheck, to be sure.
Yeah, we forgave him for that.
Yeah, I mean, he's not in it very much, so, you know. But, yeah, he's like Antonio Banderas. If you found out that underneath all that style and the looks and the accent, he actually had acting ability.
No, he can act. Yeah. This guy can act.
Because he definitely can act. He's an amazing performer, and this is a one-man show in many ways. He plays this. They're never really clear on exactly what he does in Barcelona specifically, or what you would call his position in the underworld of crime there. But he seems to be a relatively altruistic as gang lords go. A guy who he organizes cheap Chinese labor for various sweatshops in the area. He has he takes guys who are coming over from I think they said Nigeria, I think, to run drugs on the street for him. But he cares about
He's
his
the Don with a heart of gold.
He's the Don with a heart of gold. And he's got an ex-wife who is completely loony. I mean,
Is it Penelope Cruz again?
No, it's some girl you've never seen.
Some other crackhead.
She's batshit crazy, but he very much loves the daughter that they have together, and so he has to put up with her bullshit. And the thing is she's constantly trying to get him back while she's fucking his brother, who himself is a gang lord who runs a strip club and a drug business and all
He owns a
this.
pawn shop.
Yeah, owns a pawn shop too for some reason. I don't know.
Hey, ladies, here's a tip. If you want to get a guy back and want him to get back together with you, don't fuck his brother or his friends.
Yeah, if you don't want
that is the wrong move.
Yeah,
I don't know what you've been told before.
That's only good if you want to end up on cops. So the catch here, though, is that we're not just watching this guy go through all this and how is this going to play out. The catch is that he's dying. He's got some kind of cancer, and he does not have long. They're saying like, well, maybe 3 weeks.
Damn.
You know, and
whatever cancer makes you piss blood constantly, that's the kind of cancer he has. Just to let you know how bad it is, and how painful it is to watch those scenes where he is pissing blood.
Yeah, because you watch him at the beginning of this film, and he seems healthy enough. I mean, he doesn't seem like a happy guy, but he's like doesn't seem unhealthy. Yeah. But as the movie progresses, he just disintegrates.
Yeah, he's falling apart.
And that's really the main thing I would champion about Biutiful is his performance, because I think once again he knocks it out of the park, and it's not an easy role to play. There's not a lot of dialogue at parts. A lot of it is just him sort of like, you know, reacting to things and doing it in a meaningful way.
And this works more so than Somewhere, where you actually you see this guy's environment, what he has to deal with, and it's like there's no need for dialogue. You can just tell. I mean, even when he's pissing blood, when he's trying to take care of his 2 kids, you know, and he's trying to like make things right in his world before he goes, you know.
Yeah. As much as a gangland guy.
As much as that go, which, you know, it does go horribly, horribly wrong.
Sure.
As this movie progresses.
Wow, it goes so
wrong. Where you're just like, man, that is fucked up.
Yeah, there's maybe the single most unexpected fucked up thing I've ever seen in like a drama happens in this movie. Where I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. Just when you're thinking, okay, this is really, you know, the thing with the movie is it does take its time basically just telling the story of how this guy is coping with his world that he's in.
Like
to the point where
hours.
To where it's like the 2.5 hour mark where you're like, okay, something spectacular better happen because man, I'm getting so fucking depressed right now. And then when it happens, you're like, oh shit!
Hey, you asked for it.
Yeah, exactly. Be careful what you ask for.
It's not any less depressing, to be sure. Now, there's one thing about this movie that I can say the length. Okay, sure, it was way longer than it needed to be.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have cut 30 minutes from this film at least easily. I think. I mean, it's a little bit indulgent in that sense.
It is.
But I did like very much where they were going with it. It was an interesting story, it's an interesting character. It's just stretching it out so long. The one thing I really did not like, though, is mainly because it doesn't have anything to do with anything, is that apparently he's also a psychic. Like the guy, like the kid from The Sixth Sense, he sees dead people.
Yeah, or the guy from Hereafter, which, you know, the movie kind of starts off like that, where it gives you some kind of idea where the movie could end up going, where it was like, because all I thought was like, okay, this may be a better version of Hereafter.
Yeah.
Where a guy,
any version of Hereafter is a better version of Hereafter.
I think it still is a better version of Hereafter.
No, it is, but you know, they do very little with it though, which is unfortunate.
Oh, that's weird.
Because those scenes, the way they're shot and the way they're handled, they're done so well that, you know, it really like gets you interested in that storyline, but it does very little with it throughout the movie.
It seems much like Hereafter. The only reason it serves is to illustrate someone thinking about what comes next. Like, just like I don't know, and you know, maybe, or get the audience in the mood of that. Even like, well, what does happen after you die? But the way the film does it is in a creepy way. I mean, the couple times you see him, you know, what he sees, it's fucking creepy. As
shot
hell.
really well.
It's not just like, you know, like they're just sitting there. It's like there's a sequence where there's like people crawling on the ceiling and stuff out of it. You don't even notice at first. And
it's
you're
very
like, holy
subtle.
shit!
Yeah,
Damn.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
And when you see that, you're like, wow. You know, I'm curious what that story would have been like if it would have taken a good part of this movie.
But it's so little of it.
It is, and it's kind of the problem too. Like, you get strung along with these different plots because there's plenty of them. There's a lot of subplots going on, but they don't stay on too long to where, you know, it piques your interest, but they don't do anything with it to where you're like, oh, that's too bad, because it would have seemed like a far more interesting story than just us hanging out with this guy going through his miserable, you know, existence.
Well, I wonder if it's a Spanish thing, because I've always said this about what's his name? Del Toro, like Devil's Backbone, which I love the movie, but I think it works completely without the supernatural element. It's almost like he had this great, you know, just fine drama going on, and then like, well, I got to put this supernatural stuff in here. And I was like, you could easily take it out and still be a good movie. And it sounds like that's what's going on here, where it was a compelling drama that you were completely locked into, but suddenly there's a supernatural element that's almost kind of distracting.
Well, I don't know about that. I thought it's distracting only in the sense that, much like a lot of the other subplots, it doesn't really play into any one specific thing. It all it feels a little too much, the whole film, like a slice of somebody's real life, which is to say, boy, things don't really mean anything. They're just kind of random, and shit happens, and boy, like that kind of sucks. And I felt like that's where we end up where we begin in this film.
You do.
In many ways, which is fine, except that doesn't leave one wanting to do much more than slit their own wrists. At the
Yeah, it does, because it's like with a movie like this where it is in that route where it's not, after you watch it you're like, okay, I get it, but there wasn't really anything all that as far as how a story is structured. You kind of want that in a way, because what's done in those little subplots are done so well. You really, they can all break off into their own little movies, or even like a TV series where it would be completely engaging if they really did something with it. And it sucks to see like a potential of a really good laid out idea, but when it has no conclusion, you're just kind of like,
I've been seeing so much of that this year alone, if not the last couple of years, where it's like, wow, suddenly there's this movement of like, you know what, that movies shouldn't have to like tell a story. Wait, what? It's like, no, it's like a slice of real life. It's like, I can go get that from real life. Or I'll watch a documentary or something. I want you to tell me a story if it's a fictional film.
Tell me a story.
You're like, assholes, we're trying to get people in the goddamn theater, all right? Do you understand? Right like, now the film business is hurting.
What's beautiful about the film is that nothing actually happens.
Fuck the audience if they cannot appreciate it.
No, this is like we were talking about somewhere earlier, and you can't help but compare in that sense that they both seem like that whole, here's just a portrait of somebody's life that's not part of a movie in any way. And this is by far the much better of the two films. If for anything, the cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. You see a side of Barcelona that we're never allowed to see usually. We see that grimy underbelly of Barcelona. We always see the tourist pamphlet version usually. And here we get to see, wow, this is like, there's a lot of shit going on.
Which I'm wondering if it's actually there, or if it was just a bunch of set dressing to where it's like
it's actually filmed in Mexico City.
It's like, it's like, wow, you can't have a movie about a guy who's dying and set it in Disneyland. In Barcelona, I was assuming that Barcelona is a beautiful place. It's like, this is too fucking beautiful. Let's wreck some cars, let's start some fires, and give me some trash cans, throw some trash.
Oh, they didn't tell you it takes place in the future. in the Mad Max future.
Because it looks like it was set in the world of Children of Men.
It does almost.
Oh damn.
It's like it looks like everything's decrepit and falling apart. I liked that we show in this world that is odd. It is a different world. It's like, wow, we're very unfamiliar with what's going on here. And the way it's structuring this weird crime thing without ever defining it, it takes a while to even figure out that he's a crime lord. You're like, what is happening with this guy? What is his job? He just wanders around and talks to people. Says like vaguely ominous things and wanders off.
Like you said, especially with the world where this movie, it's like after a while you're like, okay, is this even set on planet Earth? Because there's a scene in a strip club where you see like these tits, and then the camera zooms out, and it's like the shot of this ass with nipples on it, and you see this head that's a big tit, and you see these girls dancing on poles with like nipple asses and titty heads.
Oh, you didn't say it was Total Recall.
I know. You're right. There's that weird moment. You're like, wait, so there's a market for this? The strip club where like the dancers wear like paper mache fake boobs on their head? Like where their head is a giant boob or something, where they've got like strap-ons on their butt so their butt look like boobs too. You're like, what the fuck kind of weird Clockwork Orange world is Barcelona?
It's the Battlestar Galactica strip club. And I'm like, wherever this is in Barcelona, I want to go. I want to experience it.
I do want to go to that strip club.
I want to go so bad.
I would pay non-happy hour prices for a lap dance.
Was the Star Wars Cantina band playing in the background?
It would only be that much better, man. I just want to pinch those ass nipples so bad.
Like I said, the cinematography is great. There's unexpected things like that. Javier Bardem, once again, come on, that guy can almost do no wrong as a performer.
Great,
he's so good, and he's fantastic.
Ooh, you know what? I'm afraid to say that because I just said that about Michael Sheen, and then he did that embarrassing performance in Tron right after. So Javier Bardem, he's pretty good.
Well, but Michael Sheen had some mediocre performances before. Remember, he was in the Underworld films.
Oh, was he?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's very true. So hopefully we won't see the dude Bardem. We won't
dressing
see
like Elton John doing
we
a
won't
tap
see him in the
dance.
next Tron movie dressed up like fucking Rainbow Bright.
It's Rainbow Bright the movie. Which, Hasbro's just licensing everything. And then Parker Brothers will come out with their competing Light Bright the movie, and it'll just be...
Well, I wonder if he wakes up every morning, like when he gets offers, he's like, can't end up like Raul Julia. Can't end up like Raul Julia. Can only make good movies.
Yeah, I know. I do not want to have some sort of aneurysm, and then my last movie was Street Fighter. I mean, if it had happened to Chris Klein, that would have been a highlight of his career.
Right.
Street Fighter, The Return again, Electric Boogaloo.
But, even with the problems with this, which, it goes on way too long, and it never really feels like it comes to anything. There's still enough to like here that I think it is a matinee.
No, I agree with you. It definitely is a matinee. If you're a fan of film, cinema, you'll really appreciate this film. But no, it's not for everyone. It is not for everyone. The story is long. It really doesn't really come to any real point. But just the performances are astounding. The cinematography, the directing.
Yeah, get the giant-sized Diet Coke before you go in.
See, you guys got me confused because I tried to watch the movie and I fell asleep. And I tried a second time and I fell asleep again. I was like, man, I'm just not going to get to watch it fully in time. And now everything you're saying, you got me intrigued where I want to see it.
Well, I tell you,
you're telling me things like, well, it's not going to end up where you want.
Well, because it still has those problems. But as soon as you start to go, okay, what the hell's going? And then it throws something at you where you're just like, wow, okay.
The thing is, for you are often running on fumes as far as sleep goes. So you'll take micro naps in great movies. We're like, are they just talking? Okay. Wake me up in 30 seconds.
Wake me up when they're done jibber jabbering.
So I'm saying here, it's not your kind of movie, and I mean that only in the sense that you need to be prepared with a full night's sleep.
You do.
I get those once a year.
Sure. No.
It is kind of an endurance test, but like I said, the moments that it does shine, it shines really bright. So.
Okay.
It does. Yeah, and like I said, Bardem is great, and hopefully we won't see him in Pac-Man the movie.
Care Bears. He won't be doing a Care Bear stare. Care Bear stare.
Dude, he could totally be Dig Dug though with that air pump thing.
I can see him in that role.